Good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. And before we get to the JRC, brief disclaimer. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links are going to be right there in the description box for you. So should you like to deep dive of the subject on your own, you should definitely be able to do so. Trigger warning. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. I do use profanity, and when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got a child that is 16 and younger and they are watching this, parental supervision is advised. So where we left off. All right, so this one says here, I do not want those with disabilities being hurt. I want the FDA to pass a rule banning the use of electric shock devices for behavioral modification. The use of electric shocks is inhumane and people do not deserve to have it used on them for any reason, including for the fact of breathing while autistic and not being miserable because of it. There are other better ways to help disabled people than shocking them. Please pass the ban. At least protect us if you can't do anything else. Especially these days. Alright, on to the next one. Here, this one says, I support a ban on electrical stimulation devices intended for self-injurious behavior or aggressive behavior. For decades, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities have been tortured by these devices at the Judge Rotenberg Center. And of course, this is the tin plate that we're used to. I'll go ahead and finish up reading it though. It is the only place in the country that still uses this barbaric and inhumane practice despite substantial evidence that the shocks are painful and traumatizing to residents. Alternative positive behavioral supports exist and are proven to be more effective. Support this ban. Amen. And remember, umbrella term for the love of God and all that's holy. That will never stop being annoying. All right, we got this one here. All right, so this one says, I am writing because I am concerned about the use of electric shock devices on people with disabilities such as autism. We should all be, at the very least, concerned, if nothing else. The fact that, in spite of the fact that this has literally been known about to the wider populace since 2012, but there has been no popular uprisings like there was in 2012 to bring this insane crap to an end continues to mystify me. I want the FDA to pass a rule banning the use of electric shock devices for behavioral modification. An electric shock is extremely unpleasant, and I believe it is inhumane to be using them on anyone. It has come to my attention in certain care facilities, autistic people can be shocked for flapping their hands, which harms no one, and for screaming in pain after being shocked. This is just barbaric to do to a person. Remember the horror that I reacted in regards to the beep machine, which they would tack to the back of your neck in an area that you can't really reach back to, and essentially it just beeps every single 5 minutes, and I said it's going to help disabled people. That thing alone is nothing more than an annoyance, but the level with which I would go to get that thing off my back and then systematically and completely shatter it, like literally would open it up, take it apart, and smash each individual piece for revenge. And now we're talking about a device that is literally something similar that you wear, but it is designed to specifically cause you an intense amount of pain. The other one is already considered bad. Just saying. I think as a society we have a duty to care for the disabled. How can we call shocking them care? I see this as abuse. The United Nations has said the use of electric shock devices is torture. I don't think any decent society would be doing this to the disabled. Here's the thing, the idea of decent society. Decent society does not exist, has never existed, and will likely never exist until the final trumpet sounds and it's time. You know what I mean? The decent society is nothing more than an illusional facade that is put forward to the mass populace to keep us as under much control as humanly possible, and they can avoid a massive popular uprising to the level of the peasants' revolt back in the day. It, in all actuality, does not exist. What you have is this invisible consensus. It is not spoken of, it is not talked about, but it's just generally accepted. And the fact that we are taking the concept of what is general consensus and agreement in regards to human behavior, and we're slapping the label on it as though it is decent, is completely insane. Because it is an illusion, it's hiding something. I would prefer anyone who is crass, rude, crude, and socially unacceptable because at least they're honest above someone who's considered decent society who will lie to your face and plan the destruction of your life while smiling at you any day, twice on Sundays. Just saying. All right, we're going to go over a couple more before we close out for this one. I know that means it's going to be a short video, but I did warn you. All right, let's go ahead and read this one here. I was deeply saddened when a bill would ban such devices in Massachusetts failed to pass. I am disabled, and I once worked with children with developmental disabilities, and the thought of such children suffering the maltreatment is sickening. Both children and adults who have intellectual disabilities or are nonverbal, semiverbal are among the most vulnerable members of our society. Speak on it, because that is one of the things that does not get mentioned nearly a goddamn enough when we talk about the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center. The fact that they literally target the nonverbal to be put on that device. And that doesn't raise red flags somehow? The hell we even doing as a society? Decent society, my ass. They already at a very elevated risk to suffer sexual abuse, physical abuse, and be taken advantage of in so many ways. And quite frankly, folks, I have yet to meet a single one of us that hasn't had this happen to us in some shape, way, form, or capacity. Part of the reason why I'm so passionate about what I do is that when I first got into it, the fact that I have yet to meet a single person that has also come a part of this, or even that would come through my office at the state, and not a single one of them that I've come across has been free of trauma. If nothing else tells you that there's something seriously wrong with the system, please let that be it. They should not be made to suffer from these simply inhumane devices. I am glad that the FDA is considering banning their sale, and I'm simultaneously saddened that this is a step that needs to be taken. No one considers banning nine-tail whips because our society's legal system protects us from assault, but apparently not if you're disabled. Thank you, go off! Not just that, but you are by far a lot less likely to be believed should you manage to actually get enough courage to report abuse to anyone you may report it to because of the fact that we carry a label. Literally. There is a reason why a lot of pedophiles will specifically target disabled kids. It's because in our world, we are less likely to be believed if we report that abuse than if a neurotypical child came forward. simply because of they'll never believe you. And unfortunately, they've been proven right way too many times. It takes a uniquely unskilled person to think these devices are even remotely necessary. Thank you! I would have gone into more detail on the unskilled part, but for right now, we'll go ahead and let that comment stand on its own and close out for this one. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do tend to get removed from time to time, so folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, don't forget to hit the comments, and don't forget to double check and make sure that you are still set up to receive notifications. We're going to be continuing on with Down the Rabbit Hole series, the Medicaid series, the series on advanced directives, and the HIPAA series, and I don't want you to miss anything. I appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. And if Missouri weather doesn't, be Missouri weather, I'll see you here in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.